Over the years and in recent times, there's been a much needed shift on the focus on, women's sports and the development thereof. With that being said, it is my absolute pleasure to have in studio with me a legend of the game, the beautiful game of football, Pinky Matjekane.
I even started playing football with guys. So, we played because we loved the sport and we're so passionate about it. At the time, we stayed with our cousin who loved football. So I would go with him when he plays. And one day, his friends were like, come, join us, let's play. And, I was like, this is a fun game.
Yeah.
And that's how I started playing football. That's something that I find very difficult, especially in South Africa, at the time. But I think now we're getting better in that. This person has played for the national team. Where is she now?
Yes.
How can we track her? Is she still playing? Those kind of things. We need sponsors. We need stakeholders
Absolutely.
to come in. We need, support every angle. In 3 weeks actually, we started, getting things together. We started having meetings. We even went to Department of Sports and Culture. We spoke to the deputy director, Pismabe,
Okay.
and just to present the idea that
Yes.
we have. But the main objective of this organization is to see, our legends being recognized.
Yes.
Being seen, being heard, but also paying it forward.
Right.
Because we've played the game.
Right.
We know. Then how do we now assist the generation that wants to play football? So if we get involved and these partners come in and be part of the initiatives and the programs that we want to do,
Sure.
and I think that's where that should be a stepping stone for us to develop schools sports in schools. There's a lot of information on the web. If you need to know what kind of sports do you want to get engaged in, and the world is yours. You can do whatever that you want.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to it. We are back once again to ignite your light and help you keep it burning bright on the podcast that matters. I'm talking about EXC-i8. So, over the years and in recent times, there's been a much needed shift on the focus on, women's sports and the development thereof. So much so that we're seeing more sponsors getting involved. We're seeing a lot more broadcasting. I think much of that has been attributed to the performance of women in sports. So I think after the South African men's football team, Bafana Bafana, won the African Cup of Nations, they've been a bit out of on a downward slide in terms of the level of excellence, sorry to say, but I mean, we all have eyes and we got to call a spade by what it is, and that is a spade, right? And the performance levels just have not been the same since. Recently, there has been much improvement, but thankfully, in the interim, there has been Banyana Banyana that has been shining that light. And not just, from a footballing point of view, but also on the cricketing front with the women's Proteas cricket team. They've been doing phenomenally well. Of course, we've got our athletes who are, carrying the torch and doing extremely well. So with that being said, it is my absolute pleasure to have in studio with me a legend of the game, the beautiful game of football, straight from, being a former Banyana Banyana football player to a current sports analyst. So you'll see us sometimes on Supersport, and also a thrift shop owner. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got in studio with me Pinky Matjekane. Pinky, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for an awesome introduction. I'm so privileged and so honored to be here and to be, having to, tell my story, my football career, where it started, where I am right now. So I am so happy to, engage.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. It really is a privilege and, hopefully the start of a wonderful relationship. I know before this, we had spoken about some wonderful things that you are currently involved in that I'm excited to talk about at a later stage. But right now, I sort of want to go to, the level of football or rather just in general, where Banyana Banyana is at now, coming from the days where you were playing and even before that, what is some of the progress that we are seeing? As I mentioned in the introduction, there's been a much needed shift in the focus on women's sports in general. And, the attention, the support that Banyana Banyana is getting, from broadcasters to sponsors, all of that is so much needed, but at the same time, where were they when you were playing and before that? You want to talk us through that?
Oh, sure. Sure. What a journey. I mean, I remember when I started playing for Banyana, I was only 15.
15?
Yes, I was 15. At the time, I played with Desiree, the Pusha Modise.
Yeah.
I was the youngest at the time.
Okay.
And I think I was, so privileged at the time, where I even started playing football with guys.
Right.
So that's how my journey actually with football and the love for football came about. Kokasi, there wasn't a lot of women who played football. So, football in South Africa it's something that, we know. It's it's the number one sport after rugby.
Yeah.
So,
debatable.
but anyway, so that's how my love for football started, and I played for, a men's team, boys team, and that's how I got attraction for to play for women's team. But at the time, there were not a lot of female teams.
Right.
So there was so minimal. So that's how I got into football. And we never had those opportunities, like you said. We never had broadcasting. We never had all these opportunities, as you see now with Banyana, getting scholarships, getting signed with European teams, and getting exposure. Even a lot of them now are behind the scenes, like the Amanda Dlamini. They do analyzing, So there's been a lot of a shift.
Right.
The stadiums at the time, we didn't have the privilege to even play F&B. We never get those privilege. So it was a hard time. Even the pay was we played because we loved the sport and we're so passionate about it.
So there's so many things that you mentioned on there, that I want to touch on and talk about. Right, you mentioned like F&B Stadium.
Yeah.
Right, in your time, was there regular opportunities to play at F&B Stadium, or what were the stadiums that they were saying, okay, maybe it was just, I don't know, a sad oversight, that it wasn't properly looked after, our women's football at that time, and they say, okay, we're going to give you sort of like a second rank kind of stadium, were you playing at F&B Stadium often or the likes?
No. I don't think at all. So we played at like Fosteras,
right.
Like Soweto. But I could understand why.
Okay.
Because like women football at the time, like we said, it wasn't as big as it is now. So filling up with FNB Stadium would have been, like something that has to stretch. And I don't know if it would have been possible at the time. So taking the game to the people, like Fosterized,
right,
where people have access, they can walk, it's not much of a hassle for them to get to the stadium. So I think that was some of the reasons why they have chosen some of the stadiums for us to play there.
See, like I can get that, right, on both fronts from, let's call it the sports development side or even a PR side, where you want the women's football team to connect with the community and from there develop a fan base. So you're going to the people, showing them that you guys are playing football and the level of football you're playing at, and then from there the support sort of starts rippling through to other communities and to a point where you then gain national support. I can understand that, but at the same time, if you're telling me that Banyana Banyana is playing an international game, whether it's a friendly game or whatever the case may be, surely we can play at a top tier stadium such as FNB.
Correct.
Not so?
Correct.
Right. So obviously now seeing how far along we've come with Banyana Banyana, this must be something that is sort of bittersweet, right? Obviously as a legend of the game, you love to see it, but at the same time, do you feel like, man?
Damn.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at the team now, and I knew, I deserve to be in Banyana, to be in the squad.
Right.
So I look at them now and the opportunities that they have. I mean, they play, go FNB, the games are being televised, go Super Sport, sometimes go SABC. We've never got the privilege
Sure.
to be able to, being in that platform. So, yeah, it's like a bittersweet where I'm like, sure, I was supposed to be,
Right.
be there. But it's not a train smash. I mean, we've built this. We the people who started football as women, we laid the foundation. And I think, the legacy of women, and just to teach young girls and to say, look, there's nothing wrong playing football that is, perceived as a man's sport.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think in all industries and formats, there's got to be the pioneers, that break ground and allow the next generation then to benefit and thrive off of, the seeds that were sown. And that was, your generation who did it for the girls coming through now and doing well and playing on amazing stages. So with that being said, I know you're not completely, out of the game.
Yeah.
As we mentioned that you're also, a sports analyst, and also you told me something about sort of like a League of Legends.
Yeah.
I'm setting up that way to make it sound mysterious and like superheroes, because I really think that's what you ladies are doing, right?
Yes,
and before we get to that though, right? I wanted to say you made a point that you started playing at the age of 15.
Right.
Are you the youngest female footballer to play internationally?
Okay.
Do you hold that record, or was there somebody who came through and played for Banyana Banyana at 14 or 13?
Look, I'm speaking at the time that I was playing.
Yeah.
So I don't know about, when the other, legends played. But
Okay.
at my time, when I played with Desiree, it was in 2000 when I started playing for the national team. So I played for under 19th national team and Banyana Banyana at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was 15, so I could qualify to play for both. So we would have camps here, and we would travel here, and then now Banyana Banyana duties, and I'll come back. And at the time, I was also juggling school.
Right.
Yeah.
You said you were 15 in 2000, 2001?
2001.
2001?
Yeah.
Kidding me, man. Looked like that was just like 4 years ago. You look
Right?
like you're 19 now. And you
I
could
can
still
tell.
go and play for Banyana. Okay.
Yeah.
No, very cool, man. So obviously playing at such high levels so early on. There must have been a moment even when you were younger than that where you were like, I want to do football. What was that aha moment? When did you know that this is what you want to do?
Sure. When I started playing Kokasi,
Okay.
at the township where I grew up. Because, like I said, a lot of women didn't play football. And every time I go in the streets, I see boys playing street soccer. And at the time, we stayed with our cousin who loved football. So I would go with him when he plays. And one day, his friends were like, come, join us, let's play. And, I was like, this is a fun game.
Yeah.
And that's how I started playing football.
Okay.
So I never actually imagined me playing football, but because of those, circumstances, and my cousin stayed with us, and he liked football, and there was street soccer, and that's when I developed the love for football.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And then what was that like, back home?
Yeah.
I can imagine like the family at home were probably, watching you at
Yeah.
that stage. Okay, you're just playing.
Yeah.
When did they start seeing that things are getting serious? Like, who was the person in the family that was like, nah, this kid can actually go further?
Actually, I was so blessed. I was raised by a single parent, my mama.
Right.
And 4 girls, none of them are, into any sports.
Okay.
Like, in terms of playing.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
those type of people. So I was the only girl.
Yes.
Out of 4 of us. So my mom, she didn't really understand it, especially like a woman playing football, and it's not something that is very common at the time. So, but she never had a problem with it.
Right.
Yeah. But the only issue was you need to be in school.
Sure.
Because football, you didn't get paid.
Sure.
So how are you gonna make a living out of football? So you need to go to school. But the support that I was getting from my family was amazing. They never really looked at me to say, look, because you're a girl and you're playing a men's sport, then therefore you cannot. So I got the support that I needed.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So, like, talk me through some some announcements that you would make, right?
Yeah.
You mentioned, of course, raised by a single mom,
Yeah.
and you know, not really completely having the understanding of where this could go to. You know, especially at that stage. You know,
Yeah.
a woman in sports or in football.
Yeah.
You know, is she trying to talk you out? You know, you said like she says, as long as you in school.
Yeah.
So what were her ambitions for you, or what did she think that you would become, or rather trying to push you to, rather than football? There must have been moments where she's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Pinky, you got to stop this," or you know,
Yeah.
like focus more on your academics so
Yeah.
that you can become a teacher or a
Yeah.
lawyer or something.
You know, funny enough, we never really had that discussion with my
Okay.
mother to say, what is it that you really want to become when you grow
Right.
up? And I think that's one of the issues with our black, you know, like mothers, or rather, yeah, like our parents.
Yeah.
So we never really had those discussions where they sit us down and we talk through our, you know, our careers and you know, where do you want to see yourself, what is it that you want to become, you know, stuff and stuff. So they were always busy, so they didn't really have the time.
Right.
So I guess my mom, she didn't do it intentionally. It's just that some of the things just
Right.
passed by, and then
Right.
she was like, oh, I like, that's my child, and I'm gonna support her in everything that she does. And
Yeah.
she saw that I love football, and when I started traveling a lot, and she was like, okay, now, you know,
Right,
I
right.
get it.
Right.
When I started getting selected to play for the under 19 Banyana, she was like, now I get it, you
Sure.
know, and I'm just wishing you all the best. And, you know, yeah.
Awesome. So what was the first like major announcement? Was there like a first team at school or something? Like what was the first, hey mom, like I was selected for this team, and what was that team?
Okay. So at the time, we had what we call provincial games.
Right.
Yeah, so we didn't have like Hollywood beds, Sasol leagues, and so on and so forth. So what happened is we had like, you know, let's say Cape Town, you know, they had like their own Gauteng province,
Sure.
So we'd go to, let's say, in Durban, all the provinces. Gauteng province is Gauteng, you know, so that's where we play a tournament, and that's when we'll have the scouts
Yeah.
to come in and select the best players, and that's how they formed Banyana Banyana.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So we didn't have like I said, we didn't have like a proper league.
Right.
So when she saw me starting going to these tournaments, and we'll fly to Cape Town, we'll do, you know, Durban, we'll, you know, and I'll come back. Sometimes I'll be the man of the match. I mean, women of the tournament
Yeah.
and so on and so. And that's how she saw the, you know, importance
Right.
of sports, and how it kind of like drove me away from the streets and to be focused on something that I really love.
Very cool, very cool. So then you're doing all of this, and you know, basically part of the pioneers for Banyana Banyana
Yeah.
football. What was it like in terms of, you know, financially? Were there hardships that you had to endure? Did you have to have another job, you know, to get an income coming in, or were you ladies, you know, taken care of? I know that there have been fights like even recently,
Of course.
you know, so that there can be better pay, or, you know, at least equal pay to what the men's squads are getting. So what was the fight at that stage? Were you guys fighting to get, you know, taken care of?
Listen, at the time, we didn't really have that voice,
Right.
you know, so what we got is what we
What you got is what you got.
Yeah, so
Right.
we never really questioned, you
Okay.
know, as much as it was very, very low. Like I said, we played because we loved the game, and we were so passionate about it. But really, you couldn't really do much with the money that we're getting at the time when we're playing. So, yeah, we never really had those kind of discussions. Maybe Desiree, and who was the captain at the
Right.
time, you know, she would go and, you know, maybe talk on behalf of us. But that was not really a thing where we would, you know, zabalaza and then and do like a, you know, commotion or
Sure,
strike
sure,
and
sure.
talk about it. We just wanted to play, but also we wanted to support our families.
Yes.
And that it didn't happen, you know. So yeah, those are some of the challenges that we really had, that we couldn't really even speak more about them.
Sure, sure. So in general, you know, you get the essence, or I get it that, you know, there was sort of an acceptance, right? That,
Yeah.
you know what, we're here for the passion of the game,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we want to take care of our families.
Yeah.
Maybe some players were more accepting of that than others. Was there sort of a split in opinions and thoughts and feelings about this, like in the dressing room, where some would be like, no, we need to be vocal about this, or was it just like everybody together, like, no,
No. Obviously, we had some, Pusha Modisa, she's very vocal about this.
Right.
She speaks, and I can't remember even. But yeah, there were some who were, like our characters are not the same. Some were, are very vocal, they talkative, they out there. Some are just chilled, and I was one of those people who was very chilled.
Right.
But I knew what was, what we were supposed to be getting. What we deserved.
What you deserve.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, at the dressing room, when we have our own, spaces, when we talk, we brought that, but we couldn't really, go and put it in media and speak about it and so on and so on.
Yeah. So I want to go back to sort of, the types of stadiums that you were playing on.
Yeah.
I can picture, the Kasi stadiums.
Yeah.
I can imagine, like, hey, sliding tackles were probably the last thing you wanted to do.
Of course, because we get a 5 bob, yeah. Yeah, a big patch. Yeah.
Were there, like, more injuries sustained playing on those types of pitches, or did you guys, were you getting by all right?
I mean, not really. I mean, I could really remember. I mean, injuries were injuries, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Based on the quality of the facilities that we played at the time. So, not much. I mean, if we get injuries, it would be because sometimes you get a tackle, and that's how the game of the football is. You get tackled. But we really never had because of the pitch. But I think that also played a role in terms of how the team now playing and the team that then played because of the facilities.
But I can imagine even with that, it must have helped with certain elements of the game, such as ball control.
Yeah.
Passing a ball on an inconsistent pitch, you don't know when it's going to bobble or something.
I hear you.
So do you feel like that helped you guys sort of with things like ball control or retaining possession, or just being careful with how you selecting your passes and the types of passes you're going to make?
No, true. I mean, you have to be very cognizant.
Right.
When you know what that stadium, or there's a hole in there, or that side is very bumpy.
Yes.
You know when to pass, where to pass the ball, and when not to pass the ball, and how to pass the ball. So those kind of things really matter. So yeah, and knowing your player.
Sure.
So if you know that player is not really good in terms of doing such things, you cannot pass the ball in a certain way. But I mean, some circumstances force you to do some other things. But yeah, I mean, they really, really played a role, those stadiums.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
So then at which point then does Banyana Banyana then start transitioning, where you're part of the team where we start now going into the bigger stadiums with the wonderful pitches and the dressing rooms and younger girls coming through? What was that point like? Do you remember the year? Do you remember what was happening?
So fortunate enough, or unfortunate, I was fortunate. When I was playing and I was still studying at the same time, so I got a scholarship to go play in the US. That was like 2004. So actually my time in Banyana was not that long. So it was just limited. I played for 4 years or 5 years. And I got a scholarship to go play in the US, athletic scholarship, study and play. So when that transition happened, where things started being better, we started sleeping in hotels. Cause at the time we were sleeping go some dorms at UJ, at Feds. Yeah, so we never really had the privilege to even go to hotels. Wow. Yeah, and I think that transitioning, when it happened, I was not really here. But I mean, it happened, and I've seen it. So yeah.
And then you came back then from the US.
Yeah.
Was the door to play for Banyana Banyana then closed? Was it tough to get back in? Did you get back in?
I really, really, really wanted to, come back and play, because I still had it in me. So when I came, remember in the US, there's a season for every sporting code.
Sure.
So when we stopped playing in the US, I came back to South Africa. But I was kind of like unfit. But I mean, if you know the game, you know the game.
Yes.
So at the time, Makalakalani was their coach. So I told even theirs was now trying to become a coach. He was doing coaching courses and stuff. So I had, interaction with her when I was still in the US. So I told her that, look, I still want to be part of the team. I'm still young. I still want to contribute to a national team. So I remember I came back and they had a camp, so they invited me. Obviously, I was unfit, and I think they put me on the spot.
Sure.
Which I found it very unfair.
Right.
So there was a game. So I was part of the game. The team, and they judged me based on my level of fitness.
At the time.
And that's when they were like, nah, we see. I played with Desiree, and Makalakana was saying, we see that you've got the game, you've got the touches,
Sure.
good, but unfortunately at this moment, blah 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 blah, and that's when it never happened.
So that was it. Was it just like, it sort of feels like a one-shot thing, and
Yeah.
sorry, that's it. We tried.
Yeah.
That's straightforwardly, that's rather poor. Whereas in other sports and other teams and even the men's team, you see certain players are given sort of the time
Exactly.
to readjust and get back into the system and the swing of things, and then from there you are then judged on your performance on the
Right.
pitch,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I do feel that is sort of harsh. Was that just the nature of the staff? Did it come from management? Was it the coach? Like, I can't imagine that players were in the dressing room saying, she shouldn't be on the bench. Like, what was that all about?
Sure, look, absolutely. And that's something that I find very difficult, especially in South Africa, at the time. But I think now we're getting better in that. So, like tracking players, I've played for Banyana. They know I've played at the age of 15. It means a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I get a scholarship to go play in America, where women's football is like at the...
See, and that's still a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's at the highest, and you're not keeping track of this person
Wow.
that what this person has played for the national team. Where is she now?
Yes.
How can we track her? Is she still playing? Those kind of things. And when she said she's back, what do you do about that
Right.
information?
Yeah.
So it kind of like, it just broke me.
Yeah.
And after that, I never really had the interest to go back and play for Banyana.
Wow.
Although I still, wished I could.
That is hectic. And do you think there's been a change sort of in the mindset of tracking players, especially with women's football, or is it still something that is not truly pursued or taken care of the way that it should?
No, I think we're getting better with that. We've seen now these agents who are coming in and managing these players, and I think the coaches or the administration, they're doing a good job in terms of that, where they track players. I've seen players from Mamelodi Sundowns. They got opportunities to go play and go study in the US, and they still come back and be part of the national team.
Right.
So that's good. That's what we want to see. Being part of that, and also participating and putting your love and passion in the national team.
Do you think that the new Minister of Sports and Arts and Culture will help make even more of that difference?
I hope so. One of the conversations that I was listening to, he said that more about the legends.
Okay.
Because like us, we've been forgotten. We've paved the way, but nothing is happening. Nobody's saying anything about the people who paved the way for women's football. So I think he still has a lot of work to do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Gayton McKenzie. You heard it.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of work to do, but we have confidence. We've seen a lot of heard a lot of good statements. So let's see where it goes. Something that I've also been a little bit curious about, right? So you mentioned that it was a short time frame that you had to play for Banyana. Were there any games in that space where you thought, okay, no, this is great. Like, there's a bright future for Banyana. Like, was there a game that stood out where you guys maybe did phenomenally well, and for whatever reason, maybe it was the victory itself, the way the team played, or the emotion that was felt? Like, what was that stand-up game for you during your time?
When we hosted the African Cup of Nations.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was that highlighting moment for me.
Right.
Like I said, I was very young, but I didn't really get playing time.
Sure.
But when I did, it was something that was, amazing.
Okay.
And something to see coming into reality that I've always wanted to. So, hosting the African Cup of Nations, where we won some of the games and making our nations proud. And though we didn't win the cup, but just to be in that platform and then, being part of the national team.
Yeah, but Banyana Banyana has always been such a strong team, from the time of its inception, and doing well, on an African front, and even, globally. We saw recently in cup tournaments, the level of football being played. And, we spoke a little bit earlier about how, you guys were maybe not taken care of properly, to the point where you can't really take care of a household or, provide for your families efficiently. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there was a story that came out as well, that even with the current group of players, a lot of them still had to have other jobs.
Right.
I'm not sure if currently that's the case or if that has been corrected, but where are we at in terms of that? Like, are we at a point now where our female football team, they can just focus on football and they don't need to be policewomen or teachers or doing other thing, during the daytime?
No, nothing of that has changed.
Wow.
So with the league that we currently have, it's not a professional league, So it means a lot of these teams are not getting paid, you see. So they still need to depend on, whatever that they do, if they have jobs, if they have family that they can support them. Some of them are lucky enough to play in overseas, where they get maybe a bit of chunk of money and they come and play for Banyana. But you don't play, the national team doesn't play, it's only a certain time of period that you play. And you get paid based on, let's say it's a tournament, you win, you get this amount of money. You don't win, probably you don't get money, or less. It does it. Yeah, I don't know how they do it, but that's how it is categorized. So we still have women, and then players who are still struggling.
Wow.
Till today. So the struggle that we were facing back then is still happening.
That is crazy. And we come such a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, we give props, where props are due or credit is due, right? In terms of that, okay, cool. There's a spotlight on the team. There's coverage of the games. There's sponsors, but what is it that we're still not getting right? You mentioned that the league the ladies are playing in is not even considered professional league. Yeah. What is taking so long to fix that? What do you think the issue is?
Look, there's a lot of issues, especially in the higher level at SAFA.
Right.
Where women's football is not really being considered or put at, same level as Bafana Bafana.
Right.
And that's the starting point. We need a league. And I think if we have, for example, teams like Chiefs, Pirates, and all of these big teams, they start having women's like Sundowns they do, I think we can eliminate some of the issues, that we have. But also having sponsors, because remember, some of these teams don't have money to support even their men's team. So how will they support the women's team if they can't have all the sponsors, to run a proper women's structure team?
Sure.
So we need sponsors, we need stakeholders to come in. We need, support every angle. But it needs to start from there and then down.
I completely agree, and that was going to be sort of my next question. What is the solution? Because we all know, the pain and the frustration that one experiences when you are waiting for, government to correct certain things or provide certain opportunities or just answer the cry for the help that we need, in certain areas of development. We see that across the board, in sports and with youth development as well. A lot of people feel that frustration, and this is where we really rely so heavily on the private sector and on corporates, to put their hand up and say, okay, we want to see a difference in this particular area. So I still don't get why till this point there hasn't been a big corporation that can come in and say, okay, let's make this women's league a professional one. I mean, like with the men's side, you've got the ABSA Premiership.
Right.
So what are we doing on the women's side? Who's going to come through and say, look, we believe Banyana Banyana has done such a great thing. They deserve to have a professional women's league in the country. They deserve to focus on this, because really, I think if anybody's going to win us a cup, on a footballing point, it's Banyana Banyana. I mean, the whole nation can see that, right? So we need to help turn that into a better possibility and reality. What are your thoughts on that?
No, absolutely. I mean, if we don't have a league, a proper league, and a very structured foundation where we say, there's young girls where we want to group them, let's say like under 14, and then we have them moving up to under 18, and we keep track of those, programs that we run. I think that will, eliminate a lot of challenges that we have. Even school sports. We've seen school sports has died. Some of the solution is that how do we now partner with a Department of Education where we even employ some of these legends, where we say, look, there's certain schools, Kokasi, 5 schools where you from, Durban, Soweto, and we do like programs. There's about maybe 50 learners, girls, boys who wants to play football. Then we get this Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to come in and to sponsor those programs. That way, even our women can be compensated and they can be on the payroll and start supporting themselves. But also we know we're building the foundation for our women in terms of getting the quality of players that can represent Banyana Banyana.
Right. Yeah. So is this part of the work that you are currently doing with the extraordinary Women's League of Legends that you guys have formulated? Tell us about that. Tell us the name of the organization.
Okay.
Do you guys have sponsors involved, or are we still at that point where we're trying to bring in people and, to assist with the funding?
Yeah, so it's still at the baby steps.
Right.
But the foundation has always been there. It's called Some Love. So South African Masters Legends Football Association.
Right.
Yeah. So it started back in the days when the Phil Masinga, the late Phil Masinga, the Jomosono, all these guys were involved.
Right. Okay.
So it's inclusive of legends, whether women, males.
So it's an ongoing thing. It was
it has
founded
been
already, and now you've come through. You in a part of that association now.
Right.
Okay.
So it's been there.
Okay.
However, it has always been, more on the men's side. If there's any opportunities or anything that involves the legends, we'll see the men being involved.
Okay, so I stand corrected then. It's not the Extraordinary Women's League, although there have been extraordinary women added to this association.
Right.
Okay, cool.
So you have to be a member.
Right.
Obviously, you have to pay a fee to become the member of the organization.
Okay.
Right. So, like I said, it has always been catering for the men. Now, you see. So lately, there was a tournament in Durban, the COSAFA, that was supposed to take place, where they wanted the legends, the men's and women. So it was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. So that's when we started like a group chat to say, look, let's get all the legends, to come together and start, being part of this thing, you see. So when it didn't happen, we're like, okay, now what's next? What can we do? We can't be waiting for such opportunities to come and then we, do them.
Right.
We can start doing things for ourselves. And then last month, in 3 weeks actually, we started, getting things together. We started having meetings. We even went to Department of Sports and Culture. We spoke to the Deputy Director, Pismabe,
Okay.
and just to present the idea that we have in terms of how now the legends, can come together
Right.
and like we want and help with some of the players who are not working. How do we do that?
Right.
So we were able to pull that tournament in 3 weeks, where we had like MTN coming in, we had us and Sports and Culture coming in, sponsoring us with the gears and some of the things that we needed, the balls and such and such. And we had about 5, partners, TUT being one of them. They gave us the facilities to play in. Radio stations were coming in, so we're doing I was mostly doing interviews because I'm the marketing consultant and manager there. So it has pulled through, but the main objective of this organization is to see our legends being recognized,
Yes.
being seen, being heard, but also paying it forward.
Right.
Because we've played the game.
Right.
We know. Then how do we now assist the generation that wants to play football?
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And well done to you for, wanting to reach out and get involved with that.
Yeah.
Like in spite of, or despite rather, the setback,
Right.
that you suffered and the lack of support that you got, getting back into the Banyana Banyana squad, you never lost your love or your passion for the game, and that speaks volumes to your character, and really that should be something that you are commended for. So well done to you for sticking it out. I think a lot of people at some point would have just been like, whatever, that's it, then I'm gonna just focus on then becoming something else. But you found a way to stay within the game and made yourself relevant to the game, right, to the point where even now you're a sports analyst. So when was that transition? How long did that period take, sort of from when you were trying to get back into the squad and you saw, okay, the opportunity just isn't there? What are you doing at that point with your life, and then when does the door open to go into sports analytics?
So talking to people and being engaged and being at the right places, and knowing the right people, because sometimes you need to know the right people to get to where you want to get.
Yeah.
So I'm not a full-time analyst at SuperSport.
Right.
However, when they need me, if they have like varsity cups and some of the things that they need me, so they would call me and they would use me for that.
Yeah.
So I would get exposure in terms of that.
Yeah.
Not recently I've done through COSAFA, I've done the women's commentary course, where they've selected like a few females from Lesotho, Namibia, so and so and so, and we had like a 1 week course where we're doing the commentary thingy.
Okay.
So one day I wish I could be there like full time.
Yes.
Yeah, but I know that time will come. But the experience that I've been getting, has been very, grateful.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, very cool. And like you say, one day I'm sure that opportunity will come, and the more they call you in for certain games or whatever the case may be, where they need you, within that space, the right opportunities or the right moment will come, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So apart from that, right, there is the thrift shop venture,
right?
Which I know from meeting you previously is something that you were introduced to during your time at the US, right? So talk us through that exposure, right, of a friend coming to you and saying, "Hey, friend, don't you just love this? Guess where I got it from?" Or what was the moment? How did it happen?
So growing up, right, I've always had the love for fashion, for clothes,
right,
and football. So they're always tied together. So I remember my mom was a very classy woman. She would wear heels, she would wear, very,
Yeah, yeah.
very, very, very nice. And I think that's when the love for clothes,
Okay.
that just came up. And, I would buy magazines and just, page through and see all these brands. Okay, what is this?
Yeah.
And I see them. But also my brother-in-law, he's very, very informative in terms of
Sure.
when it comes to clothes.
Okay.
That man can dress.
Yes.
So I think one of the things that ignite the love for fashion started there.
Okay.
Yeah. So every time, I would go to his place, there's magazine GQs, like
Sure.
this much. Then I would browse through, the Hermes, St. Laurent,
Right.
the Ralph Laurens and all that.
Right.
So when I went to the States and, and I've seen all these factories like
Right.
the Ralph Lauren, then I was like, okay, then I started doing research about more of the brands, where they
Okay.
came about and blah, blah, blah. And that's how, the love grew and grew and grew in me.
So there was always that love, I think simultaneously then
Yeah.
while you were developing in football, there
Yeah.
was also the fashion style.
Of course.
The fashionista inside of you
Yeah.
being developed,
Yeah.
which is great because that worked out for you now.
Yeah.
So at what point then was it that, somebody introduced the concept of thrifting to you and you realized you could make that a business for yourself?
Okay, so when I was in the US, right, so I used to buy clothes because clothes are very kind of like cheap,
Right.
you see. So I'd buy clothes. So when I had to come back to South Africa, I had about 10 suitcases,
Right.
literally, of clothes that I need to take with me.
Sure.
So I knew it was going to be so expensive for me to get all these suitcases in the plane.
Right.
They were going to charge me more. So the plan was, what do I do now? And I want all my clothes. So now a friend of mine was like, oh, man, Pinks, there's actually these people that I know, they do thrifting. So basically what they do, they get clothes from, charities and so they have an organization.
Right.
Yeah. So she took me to their place, the warehouse. So Jesus, there was full of like containers.
Sure.
Yeah, full of clothes, shoes and stuff. So I wanted them to assist me because also they have like a shipping company, so
Yeah.
they can ship these clothes to different countries. So I wanted them to ship these clothes for me so I can get them when I get to South Africa. The guy told me it would cost you about 200,000. I was like, what? For clothes? That's
Wow.
unrealistic,
Yeah.
I mean, these clothes I bought them for
That is
for
wild.
yeah. So why should I pay that much?
Yeah.
So then I started knowing more. He explained to me what they actually do. They get these clothes, and they have people that they work with in different countries. So he was like, "Don't you want to be one of the people that could be, a middleman?" I was still young at the time. I was like, "Nah, that can't be," because
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was kind of like a scam.
Sure.
So I was like, "Nah, I'm not really interested." So I had to give some of my clothes away,
Right.
because I couldn't take all of them to South Africa and to the plane.
Wow.
It was going to
So
be
you
too
just gave
expensive.
them
Yeah,
away.
so I gave them away.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, it's clothes, they can
Yeah,
be replaced,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
So I got back to South Africa. Then I started working for corporate companies, and again, the love of my clothes.
Yeah.
So I could dress. I knew I could dress.
Sure.
And then a lot of people would ask me, "Where do you get your clothes?
Okay.
Where do you buy your clothes? Because you dress so well." Though I'm not really a brand person. I'm not where brand you can see it in your face. I don't like that. I like settled stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So they started asking me, where do you get your clothes? So I was like, actually this could be an opportunity for me to start selling.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's
Yes.
how I actually started selling.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, is it just clothing items that people typically thrift, or are there other sorts of items? I guess what I'm trying to
Yeah.
establish here is like, what is the most unusual item that somebody may have purchased from you, or has there been like a weird request from a client, or?
Well, look, I would sell, like some high-end brands.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is that thrifting business is huge.
Right.
It's huge in the UK, huge in Europe, well, in America, and it has always been. It's just that we didn't know much about it, So back in the days, they used to call it what you call yard sales.
Yard sale.
Yeah, or
Okay.
exchange. Some of them will do like exchange of clothes.
Yeah.
And the quality of clothes that you would get, as compared to now.
Sure.
So, I still have contacts that I get. So when they bring clothes, I get to select. So there isn't a specific of,
Right.
what, based on my clientele, because I know what they like. So I select based on what they like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Unless a client says to me, Pinks, there's this sneaker that I've been looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. But the issue is, it's not like these stuff are not new.
Right.
They're pre-owned.
Right.
So for me to get what you want at that time, it could be impossible. It could come maybe next year or
That's
2
right,
years
that's right,
because it's
that's
thrifted
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to wait for it to become available,
Right, available.
for that opportunity
Exactly.
to,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So is there a name for your thrift shopping business or a website that people can visit or something?
Yeah. Pink's Vintage Parlor.
Pink's Vintage Parlor.
Yeah.
Right.
PINKS.
Right.
Vintage Parlor.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I haven't done the website yet, but that's something that I would want to do
Right.
eventually. I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
But I also do on my WhatsApp.
Okay.
It's only like people who are like clients who are
Yeah,
already
yeah.
in my contacts.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's more thriving on Instagram.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how do clients then become, part of the contacts that you communicate with in WhatsApp? Does it depend on how regularly they engage on Instagram and,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would post something. Sometimes I would do like paid ads, so it can get more attraction. And then I would get people DMing me, or just on the item that I've posted, they would ask questions. Is this item still available? Blah blah blah, and we take it from there.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I know for a fact that there are some incredible items that you can,
Yeah.
find through thrifting. So
Yeah.
guys, check it out. Check out the page on Instagram.
Yeah.
Pink's Vintage Parlor. Is it just at Pink's Vintage Parlor? Any underscores? Any?
You're right. Pink's Vintage Parlor _1.
There we go. There we go. Okay.
And another thing, sorry, that I didn't mention. So I do also what we call consignment.
Okay.
So basically, because I've got the platform, let's say you have, because people buy clothes and sometimes we don't really need them.
Yes.
We buy them because of we just want them.
Okay.
But you find out at some point you don't really need this item. So it's just sitting in your wardrobe and collecting dust. So some of the people that engage with me will say, Pink, look, I have 6 pairs of shoes. Come to my house. Or my closet is full of clothes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just want to get rid of them, So that's where I come in.
Okay.
So I just
Okay.
I
That's
just
so interesting.
select what my clientele
Right,
likes.
right.
Already in mind, I know, Terrence likes loafers.
Right.
He likes the Bali, maybe the Ferragamos, and this guy has those kind of items. So I take nice pictures, and then I post them on my platform, and we agree on the commission that I can make
Okay,
off that
okay.
item. So that's how I would sell their items on their behalf.
That's very cool. That is very cool. Well, I'm glad that you saw an opportunity in that, and like even the ensemble you've put together today, very stylish, very
Thank you so
swaggy. Is that something that is through your profession? Was this all thrifted or?
Listen, when I started knowing thrifting and knowing the quality of the clothes that I can get,
Yeah.
I didn't see the necessity to go to shops and spend a lot of money on clothes where else I can get them for.
Voila.
So everything that I'm wearing today is thrifted.
That is great. That
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, Pinky. So if we can just go back to sports or to soccer once again, and again just towards the developmental part of it, right? How can schools and communities locally better support and promote female football or female athletes in general. Are we on the right track? Is there progress in sport, or do we still need to put systems in place from an early stage in the schooling system?
Definitely. So at the moment, we don't really have programs that are catering to like young women that wants to play football, even boys in schools. So, and that's why we see a lot of all these social, ills and,
Right.
kids getting into wrong stuff and
Right.
doing, drugs and pregnancy and so I think I brought this earlier on when I said we need to start partnering with Department of Sports
Sure.
or education, because they do have the money, they do have programs, but we also do have programs that we can approach them and say, look, this is what we want to do. How come, how about you sponsor us with certain stuff, like we need so-and-so, maybe soccer
Right.
balls or programs that we can do sports management for the legends so they can learn, because football, there's a lot in football that you can do. Not only
Sure.
coaching, but there's also sports physio, there's biokinetics, there's a lot of things that is involved. So if we get involved and these partners come in and be part of the initiatives and the programs that we want to do, and I
Sure.
think that's where that should be a stepping stone for us to develop
Right.
sports in schools.
So I think like it sort of goes almost hand in hand with developing a professional, women's football league.
Yeah.
Because when, just in listening to you
Yeah.
talk, it dawned on me though, like here in SA particularly, there is focus in schools on, I guess, what you would call your stereotypical women's, sports such as like a netball or
Right.
a hockey, right? But with the progress we've seen, cricket, rugby, and soccer, and for the longest time with soccer with Banyana Banyana, you would have thought that at some point, maybe 10 years ago already, there would have been more attention to, developing little leagues for schoolgirls, who want to play soccer or cricket and rugby, for instance, right? So I think in what you're saying is that is where the attention needs to, be sort of addressed and focused on in those critical areas where formerly these were sports that were dominated by men and focused on for the men, but our women are doing phenomenally well. And, it would be a shame to not see, from grassroots levels, how we can, find the next generation of talent and give them the best possible chance to bring home trophies and achieve sustainable lifestyles, right?
Right.
Okay. So with that being said, like in your course of development,
Yeah.
what were some of the toughest challenges that you may have faced, in your football career, and, how did overcoming them shape you or how you are today? Stuff like maybe financial challenges, or if there were anything else.
Of course, I mean, playing Banyana, not having money, not getting like a salary, like I said, to support, our families, to even build
Right.
houses, to buy ourselves cars, and so it really affected us. But however, personally, I was fortunate because I stayed in school and I knew the importance
Sure.
of being in school and also playing the sport that I really love. So, but I mean, that shouldn't just be me. I want that to translate to every woman who are in sports.
Sure.
To say, let's tie these things together. And I've seen that in America, how our college sports is so
Yeah.
important.
It's huge.
It's really
Yeah.
huge. And I think that's one thing that we should do. You stay in school and you play football. If you don't, then you don't. It can't be one. it has to be,
Yeah,
they have to
yeah.
go along together. And that's how I think the Americans has got it so right, where you see a lot of athletes, they come from college.
Yes.
Yeah, they get drafted from college.
Yes,
You
yes.
see. So if we, come up with that strategy where we say school programs, yeah, and, kids participate in sports that they really love.
Yeah.
But they also excel in academic.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So they know when this doesn't work, then there's something that they can fall back on.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I know also that there's a certain like academic threshold, I guess you'd say, that the kids need to meet in order to continue playing. So if you're playing, basketball for the first team or whatever the case, you got to have, let's call it a grade average of 60% at
Right.
the very least. So we got to have something similar, I think, right? Yeah, very good. Any sort of advice that you would give to any young footballer or female footballer, coming in or wanting to get into playing professional football? What sort of advice would you give her?
Look, if you want to play football, try to get some teams to start there, because that's the stepping stone. But also be self-motivated. I know sometimes it could be so hard, like families are not the same. Sometimes you'll find you can't even get the money to be able to go to football. But currently there's access. There's Facebook where you can just type women's football, and it'll take you to, some of the teams that they're always seeking to get players to come play for their teams.
Right.
So I think get information. There's a lot of information on the web. If you need to know what kind of sports do you want to get engaged in, and the world is yours. You can do whatever that you want.
Absolutely.
You can absolutely. I mean, currently we have the CEO, a woman's CEO, Wakosafa.
Yeah.
So you see,
Yeah.
so there's a lot of opportunities that can happen if that's what you want.
Definitely. And then within the Banyana Banyana squad, are you involved? Do you speak to any of the players? Is there any advice that you give to the current players?
Well, I'm not in. Some of them I don't know them like
Right.
that, like in person, but and I would do interviews and
Okay.
like the interviews that we have now,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they'll
yeah.
ask me certain questions. How do I wanna give the info? I mean the words of encouragement.
Sure.
How so that's the things that I will speak about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you today, Pinky, and very insightful, and you're doing incredible things currently, and you're a pioneer back then, and you're still currently pioneering and paving the way for better opportunities in football and in women football in particular. So yeah, it's great to have you come on and share that story. Is there anything, in closing, any last thoughts or anything you'd like to say that you felt maybe you haven't previously been given the right platform or opportunity to express that? The floor is yours. The mic is on. It's lit.
Oh man, look, I just want to take this opportunity to say, let's change the mind, this perception in terms of women's football. Let's support, sports, women's sports in as a whole. So so we can, have women who are independent, so they cannot depend on, the other half. Yeah, they say you empower a woman, you empower the world.
Yeah,
So those are the kind of things that I would want to, give out the message out there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's next on the horizon for Pinky Matjekane?
I'm looking into opening my own foundation.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I still want to do, that I want to give back and participate in, where I come from.
Sure.
And give back and, girl child, the footsteps, how I did it, so that's where I want to hit.
Brilliant. Pinky, once again, thank you very much. And to our audience at home, thank you for tuning in and keeping it locked in with us here on EXC-i8. And yeah, remember to always keep your light shining bright. Until next time.
Thank you so much.
Cool. Thank you, Pinky.
You are welcome.